Let's get it. For a long time, as I was watching the Sister Wives television program on TLC, I referred to it as the polygamy propaganda program. And part of the reason I've done that is because I've always taken a position that polygamy was presented to the average consumer, myself included, as an alternative form of relationship that anyone can get involved with, anyone can engage in, and it's kind of no harm, no foul. Bad things don't happen. The things that you've heard are merely from like television shows and movies, etc., etc. You know where else I hear that statement from? Oh, your understanding of this particular thing is from the movies. It's not real. This is the real world. Usually you hear that statement when you're watching a vampire movie or a werewolf movie. Somebody will make the statement that, oh, those rules, that only applies in the movies. This is the real world. In the real world, it's completely different. And somehow it's way more awesome. And that's kind of how I think that polygamy is presented to the masses. Because even from its inception, as the Sister Wives came out, one of the things that they had always said was, oh, your understanding of polygamy comes from the news reports of Warren Jeffs and the evils that he was doing within his community. But that's now how it is really in the world of polygamy, and the families don't really live like that, and we're awesome people. We're just like you. We just have a different form of lifestyle and living, and it's wonderful. You don't understand how great it is. And then they went on to explain to us that anything that you could possibly ever want to do, you could find in polygamy, and thankfully, if you're involved with polygamy, it makes all these other things that much more possible and credible. The problem is, as we watched the show, and we heard Christine and Janelle and Mary all talk about how Kody would never hold them into the relationship. And even Kody has come out and said, nobody's a prisoner here. If you want to leave, you could just leave. And then Christine even came out one time during the UNLV debate where they were talking about polygamy. It was actually a discussion that the Brown family turned into a debate. But during that discussion, Christine came out and said, if we want to leave, Kody has often told us that if we want to go, we're free to go because nobody is a prisoner. Nobody's being held hostage. In fact, if money is the only thing keeping you here, he will give you money. He will buy you a house because he doesn't want you to feel like you're trapped here. And then update the situation in 2016, 17, or 2021, when she actually wanted to leave Kody, then all of a sudden it was a genuine problem. Kody was not only not trying to let her leave with money in a house, he was trying to take what little bit of money she did have and the home that she did secure for herself and make payments on the down payment and realistically her house. He tried to take that as well and cripple her and tie her to the family so that she couldn't go, because whether you say that you're a prisoner or not, you were a prisoner. And this is one of the things that I really liked about the conversation with Sarah Howe from Realiteasquad that she had with Benjamin Brown, who is Kody Brown's nephew. Now, in fairness, they didn't get into a lot of deep dive as far as the characters and personalities of the people that we've come to know on the Sister Wives program. But Benjamin did give some strong insight as to the goings-on and the downfalls and pitfalls of being involved in a polygamous relationship that I really thought were interesting. Because I've always held that the Sister Wives universe is extremely unique. It's unique for anybody. It's unique for anybody. There's people who are married in monogamous relationships. If you get divorced, you have to sell the house and split the house up. Everybody doesn't get their own house and go on and live their own life the way they want to. But in Sister Wives, the polygamy propaganda program, they made it seem as though each one of these women have their own homes that they had built from the ground up, especially in Las Vegas. They lived in a cul-de-sac. They had their own house in their own name with their own money. And if they decided to leave, they technically, theoretically, would have been fine financially. But that wasn't the reality of the situation. What we find is, and what we've always suspected was that you had a couple wives, 3 wives, who were contributing to the driving financial force of the family, while 2 of the adult individuals, not going to say any name, Cody's and Robin, were actually, allegedly, were able to sit there and reap the benefit of these other 3 women's fruits of labor. So they were winning because these other women were doing their thing. Now, like I said, when we look at the average person, and one of the things that really touched me, because I'll probably do a couple of videos on Sarah's video, because I thought it was really good. I think there are a lot of points in there that are certainly worth notation and further discussion. But one of the things that really touched me was Benjamin's push for and support of an organization that actually helps people once they leave polygamy. Because it's not just the financial end of it, people being financially destitute. There's also the emotional and psychological tie of you being involved with these relationships, whether you're the husband, the wife, the children, etc., who are involved in these relationships. Just being in this community, there's certain damage that you go through just by being a part of this. And when you leave or you try to separate yourself from this, you need and require a lot of resources and a lot of help that you might not, 1, know is out there, 2, may not be there for you once you decide to go. Let's take a look at what Sarah and Benjamin had to say about this subject, and we'll talk about it on the other side.
Part of what I do with my comedy is that I partner with a nonprofit that operates here in Utah that is dedicated to helping polygamist people transition out of polygamy into the wicked world. And they provide things like shopping assistance, job assistance, therapy, and just a number of services that people who are like me often don't know how to access or don't even know are available. And they've helped me at really important parts of my transition out, and they help a lot of people. They're called Cherish Families, and you can check them out at cherishfamilies.org. Donating to something like Cherish Families is a really, really lovely way to help, because it is absurdly and sometimes prohibitively expensive to transition as a former polygamist into the world.
And that's one of the things that I linked down below. I linked the website for Cherish Families if you're interested in checking that out and maybe supporting this organization. Because as he had mentioned, a lot of us get a lot of benefit or enjoyment from watching the Sister Wives program, but there are real people behind these relationships who need and require assistance. So if you want to donate or if you want to get involved, I'm putting the link down below in the description, as well as the link to Sarah's interview. Like I said, it's about an hour, 2 hours. I can't recall right off the hand, but I watched the whole thing. It's definitely worth a watch. Now, as Benjamin mentioned, this is one of the important things for us to keep in mind, especially as we kind of put everything on a sliding scale. Now, even understanding how the production of a lot of TV shows work. I mentioned this before, that a lot of times because you follow a certain character on a show, you tend to lean towards that character as being the protagonist or the hero of that program. So for instance, in a sliding scale of morality, how many times have we, as I mentioned before, how many times have we watched horror movies or monster movies where you had vampires or werewolves, and because we're following them and they're young and they're cute and they're sexy and they wear stylish clothes, they live in a big house driving Ferraris and things, all of a sudden they're the good guys and we are rooting for them because they don't do evil things anymore, and the stuff that you heard about was only in movies. Updating that to the true crime dramas and the things that we watch, Breaking Bad, even as far as like supporting a serial killer and Dexter. You know, we follow these characters and all of a sudden it's like, oh, I hope they don't get caught. When you watch Power, you know, every drug dealer is actually a person who owns a nightclub and is wealthy and they're doing the best and this, that, and other. And if you look at these, well, in the sense of the crimes, if you look at these crime dramas, the reality of them, no, they're not true. The people who are involved in this stuff, most of them, 99.9% of the people who are involved in these kind of, especially low-level street crimes, are not driving around in Bentleys and owning nightclubs and dating supermodels. They're barely paying their bills, possibly living in a basement of their mom's house if they don't live with 4 or 5 other guys who are doing the same thing. It's not a glamorous life or lifestyle. When we watch Sister Wives, we have to understand and always keep in mind, or at least in the back of our head, these types of lifestyles are not glamorous lifestyles. This isn't everybody gets along and we are family and we all love the fact that, you know, as a man, you have to deal with these multitude of personalities, with these multitude of children at all times, and you don't have a whole lot of time for yourself. As women, you don't have to sit there and watch your husband go off to the woman next door or the woman down the street or across town and spend the night with her or spend time with her kids while meanwhile you and your kids go neglected. This is one of the things that they try to play down on the show and treat it as though suffering, and this is one of the things that I'll get into in another video that Benjamin addresses, that somehow suffering is making you a better person. That sacred loneliness that we had talked about. So I just wanted to give a touch base on one of the things that I thought was important watching Sarah's video. Again, the link will be down below. Go check the original video out. It's definitely worth a watch, especially as you try to understand more about the world of polygamy and this religious world that Kody Brown and the Brown family is from, and the family that they grew up in. Also, the organization that he mentioned. This is actually one organization, because there's another organization that was actually helping survivors of polygamy, like both the wives and the kids who are survivors of polygamy, that I think Christine's aunt was involved with. So, with that being said, Cherish Families link is down below. Sarah's video is linked down below. Let me know what you guys think in the comments section. Leave your take. This has been My Take. I'm James. This has been My Take on Reality, and I'm out.